All right, it's episode 3 of the Better Brokers Show. We haven't even been doing it for a month. We already missed a week.
Oh, well.
We missed last week. It was a very hectic week. We had episode 1, a little introduction. Episode 2 was Carlos and his pre-interview for his fight. Why don't you tell the people how the fight went? Because you didn't think it was going to be that fun, and it was a lot of fun.
No, I've never been exposed to anything like that, and I thought it was going to be really gross and bloody and people beating each other up, which, you know, I have no interest in. But it turns out that it was super fun, and it was more, how do you say, it was like, it reminded me of Taekwondo when my older kids used to do that, and they had rules and points and... Yeah,
it's not a fight to the death.
No, it was actually really entertaining. There was a lot of fun people there. It was something. It was fun.
It was cool. We got our name out there. I met a lot of people at the fight. I met his whole fight crew and like people from his gym and stuff. And it was just a cool way to do some promotion on social media and whatnot. And people were drawn to it. We're going to we gave away 2 shirts. We're going to give the shirts away, or we're going to ship them out here soon. And it was really fun. I was very happy with the result, although Carlos lost to a questionable split decision.
We all thought he won.
I think
everybody was like, yay, and it looked like he won, but I guess it's they, count up how many times you
there's
do this or that.
Points in the clinch, and there's points for the knockdowns, and
Yeah.
there's points for this and that. I don't really know how it works, but I guess the judges thought he lost. Whatever. He fought hard. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. It was really good.
I like promoting the business like that. In the real world, it's very fun.
It's a way to connect with people. Maybe, I don't want to be a fighter. You don't probably want to be a fighter.
No.
But it's just people that have a interest, and it is a big deal, I guess. I heard Sac State is now
they had a fight the next weekend.
Either having I don't know if it was a team or if it was just like an advanced class, but Uriah Faber is involved. And
yeah, it's a thing. A1 Combat is his.
A1 Combat
is his promotion. It was cool. I mean, obviously it has nothing to do with real estate, but I think there's something good to be said about that. I mean, if you run a business or whatnot, you don't have to, stay in that specific lane. It's just we buy and sell houses to people. Those
right.
people
We
need
just
houses.
help people with when they're ready to buy or sell. And if it doesn't matter what they do for hobbies. I mean, I think for me, I like connecting with people because it's on a personal level. It was just really ironic that my husband happens to know the coach of...
That was cool. That was funny.
And he was the
Shout out
promoter, and they're like, oh my gosh, and so it was really neat, and it was sort of a connection, and yeah, it's good. It's good to get out there and just talk to people, meet people, and just be around our community. And
it was fun. It was very organic. A1 Muay Thai Sacramento was an absolute hit. I hope they do it again. We might sponsor the whole kit and caboodle next time. We'll see how it goes. But
yeah, they did invite us. So.
They did invite us to do that. Yeah, it was really fun. So that was a cool thing. We did that. We spent most of week 1 of the year kind of, I guess, preparing for the year. And then week 2, it was all that. It was pretty much, for me at least, it was mostly geared towards getting the word out for that and doing the shirt giveaway and stuff. And then we had a meeting of the minds, if you will, to kind of revamp the plan. We have a pretty jam-packed 2024. We have all these plans for, I guess the funnels are like now business, which obviously we have escrows and we have clients that we need to take care of. And then there's future business. We want to get agents. We need to keep food on the table. We need to have people. We need to be getting more business. That's a part of what we do. And then there's growing our business, Better Brokers Realty Group. And there's just subcategories of all those things. And we took on quite a bit. And we weren't exactly where I think we needed to be to begin executing on all the things that we took on. So we tried to do maybe like a revamping of the plan.
Always a revamp of the plan.
It's always a revamping of the plan, which I guess
I think it's part of the process. So we're a new business, kind of. I mean, I've been selling real estate for obviously many, many, many years, but to really grow a successful brokerage is a different animal. It's not
entirely.
it's not just, going out and taking care of your own and just one person buying and selling and helping people. So in order to really have a business, I'm sure if you have a business out there, you know that it sounds easy, but it takes a lot. And so we're kind of going through a little bit of growing pains, but I think we're back on track. We kind of went all the way around the world to get back to where we can define our areas of strengths and weaknesses. And so we'll go with that for this week.
Yeah, literally. I think growing pains is a good word for it, but it's like, I don't know, I can't put like a saying or a play on words to it, but the whole, I guess I use the term analysis paralysis a lot.
That's a fact.
You want the decision that you make to be the one that pays off. So you run through all these fucking decisions of like, we can do it this way and we do it this way. And then finally you narrow one down, but we never really like got off the ground with it, because it's not something where we go, okay, this is what we're going to do Monday. This is what we're going to do week 1, Tuesday, week 2, blah, 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 whatever. It's not like we're going to know if it works or not in a week or a month or maybe even 6 months.
And what I do know after being in this sort of industry for so long is that it's not like where you're in an office and you have tasks and you can put them into your calendar and you can block time precisely, and it has to be fluid, because when things come onto the market, or someone calls you up and says, "Oh my gosh, I just won the lotto and I want to buy a big house," or whatever happens, you have to be ready to get up and go. Mm-hmm. And so therefore you have to be able to shift your times that you were going to do these other future business building projects into some other slot and still manage to get it all done. And that is not for everybody. I think a lot of people can't handle, or I wouldn't say handle, but they're just not geared towards the kind of uncertainty of every day.
Yeah. I agree. Obviously, it is the way it goes. It's not like you're, like I say, clocking in and clocking out, and you have tasks, and when the day's over, the day's over. It's always an addition of new things, and things are always changing. And I try and express this kind of stuff into like words that people can really understand, but people get it. Like obviously we buy and sell houses. It's not like things happen on a recurring basis. Everything's different every single day, every single week. And then we've also added on top of it building a business. And sometimes there's just not enough time in the day. And then it just comes down to, where's the extra time that we're going to use? You either use your dead time to build a business in the background, I guess, which there usually is no dead time. Or, you work earlier, I work later. So I've been getting up at 5:30 to go to the gym to be able to be operating by 9, because I can't go to the gym after work, because I need to be in bed by 9 so I can be up at 5:30 so I can get the things done that I need to get done, and blah, 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 blah. It's just like the little things that need to be done to get all this stuff done.
Well, it is a process, and I think patience is hard. Jake obviously really is ambitious and wants to see it grow really quickly, and I agree. I appreciate your kind of inspiring me and pushing me to do more. But it just takes a long time to get these things off the ground. So I think what we're trying to do, or what I'm thinking, is we just need to really focus on what is the most important thing. What are your A's? What are your big rocks? What needs to be done to really keep a business running, but still trying to implement things that are going to help you expand and grow. So that's, prioritizing your task is a big thing for me.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of weight to that. It does, honestly, because if you didn't keep me in line with the prioritization, I would get so scrambled. I would still, obviously, if we have we are not an open ask group. We have a listing right now. The listing shit gets done first. That kind of goes without saying.
Anything you have that
right now,
you have to help your people first.
But where I was going was like, I would definitely find myself rather scrambled if you weren't keeping me in line, basically. Of course, I mean, anybody listening or watching or with half a brain, for lack of a better term, kind of understands that if you have business that's going to get you paid right now, that's probably what you should take care of right now.
Right, and we have an obligation to the people that have hired us.
We do,
so.
Of course, but that kind of goes without saying as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking about growth. You lose the bread and butter along the way.
Well, people have complained in real estate over. They always talk about the hills and valleys. So you're either on the top of the world and you're a rock star and you've got all this business and you're so busy doing all of it, and then everything closes, and then we joke around. We say, okay, we're temporarily unemployed again because we're waiting for the next wave. And so the idea is to keep a steady stream, and the way that you do that is to somehow incorporate regular business building. I've heard about teams recently where they come in, they all sit in a room, and they call 100 people a day. 100 people a day.
I mean, cold calls.
Do the math. How long does that take? That
takes
a lot. The whole day.
Well, it's like Sir Hant says, and he's a pretty big real estate guy. Your job is to get leads. Your job is to get more business. I mean, it goes without saying that we buy and sell houses for people. That's how we make money, and that's the service that we provide. So it's, that doesn't even need to be said. Like, at least 50% of your job is go get more business.
You have to have business coming in.
And for me, I'm younger. I don't have a very large recurring book of business. I got like 2 or 3 people that would be people that would come to me, and they're great. I'm very grateful for my clients, but I'm more on the side of like, I need to get more and we need to grow. And you're more on the side of I need to nurture what I have and keep it around. And sometimes it clashes.
Really? Never heard that. Son and mother clashing.
Yeah. But it's good. We have both sides of the coin. Like you said, I'm promoting you to move fast and far, and you're promoting me to stay grounded and keep. It
certainly has changed our relationship, I would say, over this course of the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's for the good. I mean, I think, it's definitely put us into sometimes during the day we're just like, okay, just do your work, I'll do my work. Oh. Let's just keep all the the emotion of being a family out of it for a minute, so that we can get things accomplished. Because I feel like it is pretty easy to get sucked into that, into that family thing. And interestingly, though, there's a lot of family teams in real estate. I can't remember the gal. She was so sweet, and she's been working with her son for like 10 years. She's like, well, you can always call me and I'll talk you through it, so.
I think I remember that lady.
It does trickle down. Of course, my mom was a realtor, and we didn't actually work in the same office ever, but I do miss her some days recently, just being able to ask her questions. And in her day, there were hardly any women. It was all male dominated. So she really had to fight and claw to, make her point. But yeah, I think it does seem to run in families.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's definitely something you it's not that you have it or you don't. It's some people have a knack for, you call it the gift of the gab, but it comes with a lot more pieces than just being able to go back and forth with people. But it's definitely something I think is a little bit genetic. But I want to keep on track with where we were, we got that's kind of the reason that we had this whole attempted revamping of the plan last week, because you're kind of on one level, I'm kind of on the other level. We're both working towards an ultimate goal of doing business and growing the brokerage.
We want to grow a brokerage. That's what we want to do.
And it's hard. I've kind of been thinking about it, and it's not like, like we had a meeting with Doug. For those people listening, Douglas is my older brother. He's 30. He's a very well credentialed firefighter. He knows how to make and keep teams together. You know, that's something he's really good at. He's a leader in his sphere, and building a team is building a team is building a team, whether you're building a team to build a house or sell a house, or whether you're building a team to be able to go into a burning building and everybody not die. So we had a meeting with him, and he kind of gave us some pointers. We took the pointers, and it was a big emphasis of what he was trying to tell us to do was segregate a little bit, have a autonomy and accountability for what you are doing in growing the brokerage, and just kind of run with it. And it didn't work very well for us. One, I think it's because you're my mom, and it's kind of hard for us to be autonomous. Two, I think, like I did just say building a team is building a team. I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here. I think it is different when you're building, I don't know, some business that sells X widgets, whatever, a restaurant, and there's a cook, and there's people that work in the front. There's hosts and hostesses, and there's bartenders, and there's people that do the numbers, and there's people that manage the money. There's investors or whatnot, and it can be broken up.
True, and because we're just starting, there's not enough of us to not have everybody have their iron in the fire. But I think the point well taken was we do need to find areas of responsibility. So that means like who's responsible for, let's say, listings, who's responsible for brand new buyers. So that doesn't mean that we're not helping each other and not leaning on each other and not, doing the work somewhat together on a daily basis. But at the end of the day, who's better at what and who's going to be ultimately responsible. So without tearing it all apart, what we found is when we took away all these daily tasks, nothing would get done. And so we went back to plan
To
A,
the daily tasks, yeah.
so that yes, we have daily tasks, and yes, we have to find areas of responsibility, but that doesn't mean that you can't, well, this is my baby, so I can just go to happy hour and not worry about it.
Of course, for example, like I took the reins on the social media, kind of. It's just naturally probably a better thing for me to have control over. Of course, still you have a say. You're sitting right next to me, and this is going to be something that we put out on social media. We just filmed something else. But it's like I think the difference between like the restaurant analogy that I gave is bartender makes drinks, cook makes steaks. We both buy and sell houses. I have buyers, I have sellers. You have buyers, you have sellers. We both need to market ourselves. We both need to do all of the same things because it's like we're both bartenders and cooks and hosts. And
as you bring on new agents, so agents are all young, well, maybe not all newbies, but they're entrepreneurs. They want autonomy. They want to grow their own business under the umbrella of Better Brokers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a a dance that you have to play with yourselves and your agents as far as, okay, we all have to be part of the business, but also you're several, a bunch of individual entrepreneurs doing your own business. So it is a little bit different than, like you say, the restaurant analogy.
Yeah. And I mean, as an individual entrepreneur, as a real estate agent, which at this point, you and I are basically just individual entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. We haven't grown to the point where it's like, most of the time we just run the brokerage. You have to be able to do everything and, pick a couple things that you do really well at the same time. Like if you're a buyer's agent or something, you still have to know how to handle a listing. You probably still have to market yourself. You still have to do all the same stuff that everybody else does, but you got to be really good at handling buyers. You have to know the first-time home buyer programs. You have to know the taxes and all the insurances required in certain areas and those kind of things that are geared towards buyers. But you still have to do everything else. Mm-hmm. It's not like you just do one thing. There is no one thing.
But the point was well taken that everybody can't do everything. So,
correct.
And as we grow, we will be more in charge of, running a business and running our teams. And so then it'll shift.
No, it'll definitely shift. But I'm kind of bringing it to like one thing I want to do with this as we continue to do it is we're building a business. I am very young. It is your first business that you have built as well. Trying to get important points across for somebody that might find themselves in the same position as us or is already finding themselves in the same position as us. Mm-hmm. You have to know how to do everything. If you want to make shoes, you need to know how the shoes are made. You need to know how the shoes are distributed. You need to know how much the shoes cost. You need to know your competition's processes and how much their shoes cost and whatnot. And as you continue to build, you are going to find people that really know how shoes are made. Mm-hmm. And you need to delegate making the shoes to them. But you need to know how their job is done so you can advise when need be, being an owner of XYZ shoe company. But, it's a little different in real estate, but still, like, you got to know how to do everything. But there's going to be some stuff that you're just really good at. The rest of it probably just needs to get delegated out. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get our multimedia marketing off of our shoulders. I'm not very good at it. You're not very good at it. It needs to get done. That's like my first point of I'm trying to get that delegated out. And it's very difficult. But that's kind of, something that I'm realizing. I'm going to have to learn how to do it regardless because it needs to get done until it gets to a certain point where we either have a team or one of our agents really likes to do it and we can cut them in on some kind of deal, or maybe we just do it so much that we learn how to do it ourselves.
Well, and things grow and change, and pretty soon they might have, a bot for that. But but things just change, and you do need to know when to let go of. Way back in the day, I thought I was the queen of publisher. Nobody even uses publisher anymore. And I made all the flyers and I made all the brochures and I would spend hours doing that. Now looking back, my time would have probably been better spent going out and selling a house, or getting more business. But I really enjoyed it. And I was pretty good at it. People would say, "Oh, who did your brochures?" And I was like, I did them. But you have to kind of know, again, just kind of focus and stick to what we do. I know I've seen in some really high producing offices that I've worked with over the years. I go in and I'll tell you what's on their wall. We help people buy and sell real estate. That's it. They are very, not everybody, but it is a point well taken that we have to keep our eye on the prize. And what we do is this is the service we provide. Mm-hmm. We're not graphic artists, graphic artists. So, yeah, I think it's great that you're really good behind the camera and you like all these things, and that's great. We've used that. It's been a fun ride, but at some point, once you get to a certain state, you're not going to spend your time doing that. You'll be building a real estate brokerage.
The ultimate singularity in what we do is buy and sell houses for people. Mm-hmm. it has all these miscellaneous arms and legs to it, but the middle point is buy and sell houses. Of course, if we weren't growing a brokerage, it wouldn't matter that much that we need to do multimedia marketing and we need to figure out our accounting and we need to do all these other things, but we are. So,
and I'm really excited about that because I know what it feels like to be a new agent coming up, and you're kind of thrown to the wolves in a lot of cases, or you're in a really big office with tons of training and tons of things, and it's super expensive. And yeah, you can get a lot of training and that, but you know, after you start getting a few deals and you're like, hey, wait a minute, how come I'm only taking home X?
yeah, how come you're taking 70%
And
of my check?
so there's a space for all of that, but there's, I think one thing that I'm passionate about is like treating people the way that I would want to be treated, even if you don't know everything, and helping them succeed and helping them grow, then we all grow.
I think that is also a very good point. Well taken. I agree. I'm a big I've always been a big proponent of the little guy. And I guess it's my kindred spirit. But I understand it's kind of industry standard for most places. You get an unpaid internship. You learn and 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 you learn. And then you get paid way down the line. In real estate, you pay up for the training that you get. Honestly, you know, I don't think this job takes a whole lot of training. I think it's a little overblown. And when we take people on, that is one of the things that we've talked about it. You know, we can't let agents that work under us work for free. Like we need a split. We have to pay for your insurance. We have to pay for your overhead. We have to take on the risk of having you. If you F something up, then it's on us. So we need to have a split. But it's a little there's definitely an overreach, I think, in the industry.
It just depends on what we can bring to the table for people.
Correct.
So, as the brand grows, then that becomes more powerful for agents working for the brand. So that, it just depends on where we go with it.
Yeah, I just do think, like, the more money we can keep in your pocket, because like I said, this is all based in my belief that it does not take a whole lot of training. Yes, it takes training, and there's different levels of, I don't want to say different levels of intelligence, but there's different levels of aptitude to doing this, buying and selling houses. You need to understand the contracts. And if that's not something that you're very good at, then you need more training on that. You need to be able to talk to people. I can train you on that, sure, but it's probably something you should bring to the table already. You need to be able to cold call and stay organized, and the checklist is long. But
and every transaction is different.
Every transaction is
different. So I think where experience comes in is just by doing the job, and you've seen a lot of different possible issues that come up. So you can anticipate problems. You can mitigate problems for your sellers and your buyers after you have more time, or you have a mentor like me that can say, well, we better think about this, because I'm not saying it will, but this could come up. I'm all about being proactive and trying to, not have a lot of surprises in the course of a transaction. So you just can't train experience. It just is something you have to have.
Yes.
And we better be experts in our field, because as the industry gets attacked by outside legal issues, and we have all of the, the AI and the iBuyers and all of the things that are, kind of coming in and chipping away at the real estate industry, we better be really good at what we do so that we can bring a high value.
I agree. You need to earn your keep. What I'm kind of specifically referencing is just for newbies, when we get people working under us, you and I need to be experts in our field. We need to know what's going on. That's not exactly what I'm getting at. I'm getting at, like, I think it's overpriced in the industry in general for a mentor to say, well, watch out, something's happening in your transaction. I think the knowledge is overpriced. It's too much money. I think that's a huge portion of why people don't succeed. The dropout rate in this is relatively high because you're nickel and dimed out of all your money in the beginning.
Well, you really need, what people don't understand, it looks easy, like many professions. Oh yeah, how hard can it be? Well, you jump behind that bar and try and deal with people
It's a
all
very
night
stressful,
long.
difficult job.
And so there's I think all professions, you could say, for the most part, have their intricacies. And what I think in our industry, people think, well, it's only going to take a month or two and I'll have an escrow and I'll have a big check. Well, that's usually not the case. Usually you need like at least 6 months to a year of capital to pay your bills, because oftentimes it takes that long for people to even get 1 or 2 sales. Now, fortunately, you came in under me, so you had like just
and
a
we had
built-in.
and we were on an iBuyer team.
We
that
were
was
on
a
the
huge
iBuyer team, so we had constant influx of
That was a huge piece of it.
leads. But let's be real; those leads were hard to convert.
But still, I mean, it was, yes, I came in under you, and yes, my mentorship was cheaper than most.
Mm-hmm.
But had I came in under you when you were still at Keller, I think it would have been completely different.
Right. And you're good, Jake. You're good at what you do. I'm not just saying that as the mother, but, you took to it really quickly, and you just sort of naturally have it. I don't know what it is, but just like when people meet you, they're like, yeah, you're really on it. And
People
you've
like me a lot.
experienced that. We're not all, going to be a fit for every client, but you can kind of tell whether someone has the it factor that goes with this. I mean, you wouldn't probably do well sitting behind a desk,
No.
managing files of, payroll or whatever. That wouldn't be a profession that suits your personality. Same with me. So it doesn't hurt to already just have a nature for outside sales.
I agree. I mean, of course it doesn't hurt. It's something you either got or you don't got.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can be trained to get it after X amount of time. And you saying you really need 6 months to a year of expenses stored away before you should not before you should consider doing this, but you're not going to sell anything in your first year, most likely. It does make me realize that the cost of carrying people that aren't making you as a brokerage any money, because I want to continue tying this back to why I believe we should charge our new agents less than they are charged elsewhere, because it's a give and take, and they succeed and we succeed. You're jogging my memory that the cost of carrying people that aren't selling anything for a while, a year is a long time, to get no return on, an employee. I do acknowledge that it is costly, but still, I mean,
and that's why that's why we need to help them a lot.
Yeah,
if they're new,
and help them a lot. For people that don't really understand industry standard, you go get your real estate license. If you don't have a mother that does it, or you don't join some team or whatever. Like I started on an iBuyer team. Leads were hitting my phone from the day I started. But you go to work at X brokerage. They stick you on a team with a mentor. You pay for insurance. You usually overpay for insurance. I know how much E&O insurance costs. They're overcharging you for it. You pay a desk fee. You pay a marketing fee. You pay your mentor, and you pay the brokerage. And by the time the check hits your table, and you're doing a lot of work. You're probably pushing all the documents back and forth. You're probably not on the phone a whole lot with the people. Your mentor is going to get the business, and you're going to do the business. I don't know. What do you think you're making? 30% when it comes to you?
probably 40, 45.
45. I mean, I think 45 sounds a little
I
lofty,
mean,
but
you're going to pay
a lot
usually you're going to at least pay 30% if you're new.
to the brokerage. Then you got to pay your mentor.
We don't have to pay a mentor.
But but
it
still.
depends on the structure, but it's a heavy split until you can actually be productive. So,
and I think
because you have to pay for that.
I think one of the things that is hindering new agents' productivity is the fact that it is such a heavy split. I believe that if we take the split down a little bit, because ultimately your training is you're attached to me at the hip. I got showings, you're going to them. I'm at an open house, you're there. I'm doing my job anyways. My job is getting done. You're learning how to do it by shadowing me, essentially. It doesn't really cost me much.
Well, but you're shadowing them too. So everywhere they go and every appointment they have.
That's a point well taken, yes.
And you'll need to be compensated, or somebody has to be in some way, at least until that person is
my compensation
competent.
is whatever. Your brother wants to buy a house, you work for Better Brokers Realty Group, and your older brother wants to buy a house. Great. My compensation is I'm going to get a split one way or another. I don't think the split needs to be so exorbitantly high that you're barely making ends meet because I had to get in the car with you and go to a showing for your brother and I had to point my finger.
Yeah, bottom line is we're going to be fair and we're going to, do the best we can to help people grow.
Yeah, I'm big on, I don't want to stunt people's growth. If you sell $100 million in real estate this year, guess what? I'm taking a percentage of it either way. So I hope you sell $100 million in real estate this year. I'm not going to take all your money away because you're a pain in my ass. I just don't like that. I don't like the way that the machine is ran. So I would like to run it a little differently over here. And who knows, if you're a problem child, maybe we need to take a large split. I don't know.
It's all harder than it seems. So
certainly.
But we need to be flexible again. We don't really know how it's all going to shake out, and so, but yeah, we're kind of looking for some space, maybe office space, and that would be great. And we'll see. We will see.
We've been going for 37 minutes. Look at how fast that went.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a wild ride, and I think every day is a step towards the future.
Agreed.
And we'll get through the month.
Yeah, that's episode 3, a recap on our scrambled first few weeks of January 24, and a touch on maybe how we want to structure our commission. And we have a listing right now. 5748 Avenida Robles, Granite Bay, California, 95746. It's $2.58 million. Go check it out if you're watching.
It's really beautiful.
It's beautiful. Maybe we'll touch on that. Hopefully by the time we get back to you next week, it's sold. That would be great.
Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing?
Yeah.
I hope that for our sellers, they would like to move on.
They're good people. They're fun. I like them. But yeah, that was that. We'll talk about more stuff next week. We got a lot going on.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye.